Hello again, Marie and Curtis Almquist here for our mini masterclass on chapter 3 of how to be a networking ninja.
Watch out for those ninja moves.
In today's masterclass, we added a little bit to last week's chapter, which was about working in networking groups and how to have great conversations there and like some opening questions. We're going to create a document, watch for that, attached to last week's chapter, where we added on some questions today. What we want to move into now, though, is chapter 3.
Chapter 3, Karma Kicks. Grow your network by giving back. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to do some networking in non-networking type events.
It's a great concept, whether it's any time of year. If it's the holidays, you might have special holiday parties, or you might have special events that are for weddings or for family events. The first area we want to talk about are those types of things. You might call them person to person types of events. Now, you don't want to go into something like that with a mindset of doing networking. Okay, let's just say that at the onset. Here's a tip I'd give you that we got from Dr. Meisner, who is the founder of BNI. It's a networking group that we've done a lot of work with over the decades, actually. And he says that in those contexts, you want to be listening. Oftentimes, people are going to talk about issues that they're having, challenges, complaints. Maybe there's a snag at the wedding. I don't know. But the best thing you can do is ask the question, how can I help? Because maybe there is something that you can help with, maybe not. And just listening to them is a gift to them, but maybe there is something that you could help with. And that's going to build a relationship that could then lead to more things, maybe even networking. But ultimately, when it's a person to person situation, you want to honor the event. Okay, you're there predominantly to participate and be visible. And that visibility, in a sense, in and of itself, is going to help you with what could happen later with networking.
Absolutely. Just be genuine, be who you are. And that was kind of key what Susan Marie said about how can I help? And that help might be because you're such a networking ninja that you know so many people that maybe you could make a connection after the fact, so not now, but hey, maybe later would it be okay if I connected you with somebody I think that might be able to have some insight or help you with that situation that you're in, things like that. So that's really what that if you have that mindset about being there at a non-networking event where you're just there to help, you're there to be present and connect people.
Civic organizations was the next one. And the best example of this would be chambers of commerce, which are civic to some extent, right? They're usually connected with a particular municipality. And so when you're at a chamber, it's usually that now they may have what they call business networking events, but it's still more designed towards civic in terms of having businesses know what other businesses exist in their community. It's not necessarily about generating referrals and business, and that's okay, right? Because you just want to lean into the context that you're there for, because again, that will lead to the relationships that will lead to more networking and potential business.
Yeah, and think about some of the service organizations around where you live. Those are ones like Rotary or Lions or Kiwanis or the Optimist Club, things like that. Many of these are clubs or organizations that are obviously there to do good within the community. So what better place to have yourself be seen than in these places, and also that are doing some great things. So getting plugged into those, the people that you surround yourselves with all have that commonality of helping and being there to just be a support for the people in the world, really. And those are great places to make some connections. Not directly doing business necessarily, but just building connections for yourself.
I remember working a parking lot one time with a service group for an event they were having, and we got to know one another pretty well just by being there for a long period of time. So lean in to that, because again, that's how you get to know people, and it leads to what can come from that. The same could hold true with faith communities, whether it's your local YMCA or maybe the place where you worship. These are not places that are obviously set up for business, but deepening those relationships will naturally lead to conversations of well, what else do you do? And you've got that shared commonality to begin with that can really lead to rich and rewarding connections.
Absolutely. And then there's leadership organizations, like Toastmasters or some of the Dale Carnegie courses or National Speakers Associations, things like that, where wouldn't it be nice to be around the kind of people that are looking to improve themselves And those are the kinds of people that I want to be around. So having that, you're going to come out a better person,
Mhm.
and you're going to be around people that have that goal in mind, most of whom have business connections and business interests and things like that. So
And then you've got nonprofit organizations, and there's a lot of ways to give back to nonprofits. You could be a donor, right? Just a financial donor. You could donate your time by volunteering, and you could serve on their board, which is essentially like donating your time. But that can lead to business. Actually, I serve on a board with the organization Not to Network. Okay, I serve because it's a group that I believe in, and yet there was a need that arose within the organization, and I was able to make a connection that led to business being generated. And so that's exactly what can happen, because you're doing things that you believe in anyway, which feels good in life to do that. And just watch where that can lead you in terms of networking and
well,
business.
and thinking about even those newsletters that you get from some of the charitable organizations that you belong to or that you donate to, look at that on that first page. They will always have the board of directors, and think of those names and those companies that those people represent, and they're usually the movers and shakers within your community. And so those are great people to get around.
They're good to connect with on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Oh, that's next week's topic.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then we'll wrap up with just a few additional thoughts. It could be places that you can network, like trade shows or conferences, sporting events, school, like parent teacher organizations. Heck, you could start your own club for something that you're interested in if it doesn't
Yeah,
exist out there.
and sports and school oftentimes go together. If you've got kids, I know that as our kids were growing up, we were very involved in the schools, in their schools, and it's a way of giving back. It's a way of being more plugged into your kids' lives and being able to be around other parents, and oftentimes those parents live and work and own businesses in your community, and that's just a great way to be giving back and building into the next generation.
Mm, for sure. And then we're just going to close with some pro tips in terms of how to continue to build goodwill and credibility. I'm going to share some of my top ones, and then how about you do the same, and we'll call it a wrap. And I know I've spoken before about handwritten thank you notes, but sometimes those extend it a little bit more, like a gift. Like I might send an arrangement of flowers or that kind of thing, because I really want to express a bigger thank you and really be memorable and noted. And another thing that I like to do is to send an article of interest. This takes us back to the first chapter about pinging. An article can be a great way to ping somebody because you read something that made you think of them. And these are just pro tips. Last one is to have a good CRM, a customer relationship manager, whatever that looks like for you, someplace where you're tracking the people that you're coming into contact with and that you're dripping on and that you're following up on.
Yeah, one of the things I like to do is if I've got a networking group that I attend regularly, I think of other businesses or business owners that I could invite to join me at that,
Mm.
because their business may benefit from being there at that event as well. So networking kind of in a roundabout sort of way, where I'm building a relationship, strengthening a relationship with somebody that I know, and I might invite them to a networking event.
That's right. You do a good job of that with that one that's involving seniors and thinking
Hmm.
of people that could benefit from being involved in that
Yeah.
senior group. And you just made me think of another one I want to add, that I oftentimes will, if there's somebody I want to do business with, I want to generate a referral for them. So I'll go looking for, like in a Facebook group or in the Nextdoor app. Oh, yeah, this goes to next week too.
Okay.
But for
Right.
needs that people are expressing, like they're looking for, and these groups, they'll say, oh, I'm looking for so and so or that kind of a person. And I want to look for a referral to be able to make, because I tell you what, if you can give back to other people, it will make the greatest impact on how they see you. And it mainly do it because it helps people and it feels good.
Nothing wrong with that. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today.
All right. Bye, guys.